Hello there and welcome to our second and final edition of News Tonight. This Monday, the 20th day of January 2025. We're coming to you live online and on air from Broadcasting House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Senyamo Yusuf and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanankoma. Now, the Electoral Commission is targeting over 22 million registered voters to fully participate in the forthcoming 2026 general elections. The chairman of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama, made the revelation at the flagging off of the National Voters Register Update exercise at one of the polling stations in Kamocha, a Kampala suburb, where the exercise officially commenced. Now, this 21-day exercise will run until February 10th, 2025, and will be conducted daily, including weekends, at designated parish centers across the country. Justin Nakami gives us more.
The National Voters Register Update exercise has been flagged off today by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama, at one of the designated stations. The purpose of this exercise is to register Ugandan citizens aged 18 and above who are not yet on the voters register.
This is to give an opportunity to those first-time voters to turn up at the various registration centers across the country and apply to register as voters. You must be a Ugandan citizen of 18 years and above.
In 2021, the Electoral Commission had a projection of 18.4 million voters. However, the chairperson, Justice Simon Byabakama, revealed a new target for this exercise. The Commission aims to increase the number of polling stations from the current 37,000 to accommodate the projected rise in voter numbers after the exercise.
Well, the projection last year we had about in 2021 we had about 18.4 million. Our projection was that we would add about 4 million voters. So our projection is about 22 million voters.
Byabakama urged the public to utilize the 21-day period, stating that there will be no extensions to ensure proper planning for the elections.
The law says that we have to create a cut-off date for registration of voters. And secondly, one of the hallmarks of a credible, free and fair election is a credible register. So we must therefore end registration by a specific period, because when you look at the roadmap in its entirety, the register must be ready by May, June of this year, because we are going to start with elections for special interest groups at village level.
The exercise is linked with the National Identification and Registration Authority, addressing transparency concerns and ensuring accuracy.
I'm very confident that the NIRA database has high integrity, and our register database is also of high integrity. There's no compromise about security.
Politicians are encouraged to mobilize their voters to actively participate in the exercise.
Your supporter is not worthwhile if he or she is not a registered voter. You get me? You may have 10,000 or 100,000 or whichever number of supporters, but ask them, are you all registered as voters? So let them turn up at these registration centers. For us, we don't discriminate whether you belong to this party or the other party. We are registering citizens of 80 years and above who are eligible to vote.
Residents of Kamocha appreciated the government for bringing services closer to its people.
Wakedde wano sawe munene chikana mutano na bajja abaitro commission basokedde kunze ebimbabwedde babinkwedeko bwerere. So subira government bwesigara guno mutume gweturaze bwesigare kure bweto burungi kiza kufuna esanyu kitegeza n'akaruka kafe bisabye byo mu maso awo kaza kubakeddembe.
The exercise also involves compiling and updating registers for special interest groups, including the National Youth Voters Register, the Persons with Disabilities Voters Register, and the National Older Persons Voters Register for their respective councils and committee elections. Justine Nakami, UBC News.
To Moroto now, where network issues, illiteracy and non-citizens who want to participate in the national voters registration exercise dominated the process on the first day in Moroto district. Now, despite these challenges that bedeviled the exercise, the turnout was massive, as we hear in this story.
The 21-day national voters registration exercise running to the 20th. The 21-day national voters registration exercise running to the 10th of February seeks to have voters who clocked 18 years and above registered in the National Voters Register to enable them exercise their constitutional right to vote for leaders of their choice in the 2025-2026 general elections. In this exercise, even those who want to change from one polling station to another are allowed.
As well, updating those voters which are not on the National Voters Register, but they are registered as citizens. And so far, the exercise which is started today has started very well, but I believe by tomorrow, most of these registration centers are going to be busy.
In Moroto, the exercise will be conducted for 5 days per selected area to enable everyone to be covered.
These centers are chosen for purposes of good location and a place where many of these voters can be able to access the machines, can be able to reach easily. And in each location, we shall be working for 5 days. And we shall move to the next location immediately.
According to Moroto District Election Officer Rose Lily Lokuth and supervisors, the exercise went on smoothly despite the challenges of network and high-level illiteracy. Many of the eligible voters had forgotten particulars they entered on the NIRA system when they were registering for their national IDs.
Because our people sometimes keep changing their names. They only don't change, but they also forget what they used to register, the name they used to register for the first time. So when they come to confirm their information, they give different names altogether. So by the time you go to the system to check the information of this person to confirm, you take long actually to get, because now we understand that they forget. We take time probing, trying to investigate, trying to look into the system, changing one name after the other. So we waste a lot of time.
In Lotisan, we had a number of Turkanas who wanted to register because they've lived there for long. But because the law says you must be born in your register as citizens, by registration, we have told them you cannot be a citizen of Uganda because you have married in Uganda. It is unfortunate that these are villagers, they cannot use as a...
There are places like Kakimol. We have deployed there. We have been trying to get in touch with them to see how they are working, but we have failed to reach out to them. And I believe they are also struggling to send us some information of some clients to try to check from the client information system. So we're having a problem with the network coverage in Moroto and many rural places in Karamoja.
Locals complained on the long time spent at NIRA offices, but Moroto District NIRA Registration Officer Susan Taleb attributed the problem to inadequate staffing.
Of course, my ID got lost. But now, since it got lost, they have the data there. So they're supposed to give me the what? They need now.
It's what they want in the process of what? Maybe processing for the national ID and other things. But for you, you are just going there. And you will sit probably outside from morning.
For example, in our office, we are only 2 staffs. And you find the colleagues in the field. These people, you find over 10 people have come for different services. For example, one has come to pick the NIN number. As you're still searching for the NIN number, another one has come for fresh registration. As you're still searching, another one is maybe wants a confirmation letter to go and open a bank account. Another person wants...
Moroto has 41 parishes, 232 villages, 6 sub-counties, 2 divisions, 1 town council, and 1 municipality. Maureen Iga compiled this report for UBC TV News.
To Entebbe now, where leaders in Kajjansi and Entebbe municipality are concerned over the low turnout of eligible voters who have turned 18 years and above in the ongoing verification and update of the voter register that commenced today countrywide. Kitimbo Fatuma, the Assistant Returning Officer, Entebbe Division, says any person who will not verify their detail for the update of the new voters register will not be allowed to participate in the forthcoming general elections.
First and foremost, I would like to appreciate the work that has been done by the Electoral Commission to organize this exercise as it has started for today's case. But according to my observation, as I've seen currently, when you happen to reach on the centers, you find that there are few people. So that means there is a communication gap. And that communication gap is going to affect the whole process. In fact, when you look at the way how it has been conducted, you cannot give Kajjansi Town Council with 62 cells, with 11 wards, only 3 kits. That's being abnormal. And I doubt whether the exercise was just done to show off that we are doing it for accountability, that this exercise was done, but the reality should remain, and they should know that this exercise is not going to be what? Flexible according to the what? To the allocation of the kits. With Kajjansi, actually, for me, my humble prayer, I urge Mr. Tolobert Musinguzi to see that with Kajjansi as a town council, it's large. The population is alarming. Then, when you look at the way how the kits were distributed, one is at Kajjansi, catering for almost 4 parishes. More so those parishes, those are densely populated parishes. Chitende, Bweya, Namulanda, and Wamala. 1 kit. Then another kit is centered at the town council. I think you can see how many people are there. The operators are working on themselves instead of working on what? On their clients. So, I think it would be better if they happen to come up with a mitigation measure to see that if each parish is given a kit vis-a-vis the number of days allocated, they can operate at least within the number of days with a single kit per parish or per ward. But if we happen to go like this, it will be a total mess. And we shall just receive that the accountability was this money was spent like this. Yet, the exercise is not what? Effective.
Now, a section of members of Parliament has disregarded the social media remarks describing MPs as clowns. Now, these descriptions are purported to have been posted on the X handle of the Chief of Defence Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, after the Committee of Defence and Internal Affairs summoned him to Parliament on Friday the 17th of January 2025. Now, despite the summon, the Committee on Defence adjourned the would-be Monday meeting in which the CDF was meant to appear. And as we hear from Daniel Mugoya, this raised mixed reactions from both the MPs and the general public.
If the summonee has failed to come due to some problems, the summoner has got the power to re-summon the summonee to appear. The summonee has no power to refuse to come.
The Chief of Defence Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, was summoned by the Parliamentary Committee on Defence and Internal Affairs on Friday 17th January 2025 to appear on Monday 20th January 2025. The CDF ignored the summons in his response through the X platform, formerly Twitter. In this response, General Muhoozi is purported to have described the MPs as clowns and was not ready to adhere to the sermon. By a twist of events, the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, Balaam Barugahara, was recorded saying that the X account of the CDF was probably hacked.
Yes, the X account, probably it was hijacked because General is too patriotic, he's a Christian, he's a man of God, he loves God. There is no way he would love to eat anyone's head. These things, they do it every day. Even the people open accounts in people's names, we are facing a lot of problems, but now we are in partnership with the UCC and the CID and the foreign agencies, Interpol, who want to discover who are these people and whom do they work for. And we shall get the truth.
So
Yes.
how was it possible that Honorable Balaam Barugahara was responding to a hacked account?
No, I was responding, what if also they hacked mine? I recovered mine yesterday. I've not been having my account for some time, they hacked it.
How would you tell that General's account was hacked, yet you have not spoken to him?
Yeah, because the way I saw how they were behaving and the suspicion, because we tried to see that account, we also have experts. They are trying to see how the account went off and who's posting, the location of the person posting. We identified the person posting is in Kamocha, and he kept rotating from Kamocha to Kavule.
Nevertheless, the purported description that portrays MPs as clowns is something the legislators have left to rot under the carpet.
That matter is in the public domain being discussed, but as an institution of government, the legislature, we have to stand tall and firm to do our work. It is within their rights to refer to us as they wish, but as far as we know, we are constitutionally protected.
So nobody should scare us or using all kinds of bad words or slangish or whatever. We are strong, and I'm very sure this parliament is a very strong parliament.
Understanding whether it was important or urgent to summon the CDF, since other respective stakeholders were in the Friday meeting, is something that is only dictated by the rules of procedure of the August House.
And it's for the good of the country, so there is nothing wrong the committee did. If they are asking the CDF to appear to explain some things, previous CDFs have appeared and they have explained.
There is no cause for alarm if the commander of a department turns down a summon by Parliament.
You do not strictly require the commanders of those forces to appear. However, if they appear, it is good, and they normally appear in Parliament. But if they are represented by a deputy commander, there shouldn't be any problem and there shouldn't be a breach of the rules.
The committee adjourned its would-be Monday engagement, sparking mixed reactions.
So we've given them tomorrow, 21st at 9 a.m. For them to come and appear before the committee. So I believe they'll come. He will come with his team. We don't mind whoever occupies which office, but as long as the office is represented, that is what we shall go by.
The situation is amid a season to scrutinize the budget framework paper of various ministries, departments and agencies. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Daniel and Gloria, thank you so much for that story there. Now, police have launched an investigation into uncoordinated-like operation that led to the killing of 5 suspected robbers at Acacia Mall in Kamocha last week. Now, this follows public criticism and remarks from the Minister of Internal Affairs, Major General Kahindo Tafire, plus human rights activists accusing police of acting unprofessionally.
With ongoing criticism on police handling of an operation involving suspected robbers adjacent to Acacia Mall in Kamocha last week, where 5 people were killed on spot and 1 sustained severe injuries.
Police managed to enter deep into nipping the bud, planting a victim. These persons target that victim, and it is during that process that the suspects are put out of action.
Police have provided records of these persons, linking them to previous aggravated robberies in Kampala Metropolitan.
these suspects constitute part of the larger gang known for targeting individuals carrying large sums of money, which had graduated from non-armed assaults. The gang we are talking about has been targeting people without using tools, but by advantage of their energy, they box their and kick their victims into submission, and they have been very particular dispossessing victims of money, especially targeting them from either banks or money serving outlets like mobile money centers.
However, investigations have been launched to ascertain the alleged uncoordinated mob justice-like operation by security operatives attached to Flying Squad unit of the Uganda Police.
If there were any excesses, like all operations, anything can go wrong. There are very clear intentions to make sure that that matter is looked into. And let me clarify it. They are very deliberate and intentional. We are intentional in trying to make sure that if there is anything which went wrong, then we shall have to look into it and see how to come out with the remedies to that effect.
This comes after public scrutiny on the matter, and the Minister in charge of Internal Affairs, Major Gen Kahindo Tafila, while appearing before the Parliamentary Defense Committee, committed instituting investigations into the incident. Abdul Nasir Luwama and Rogers Komagum for UBC.
The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and the anti-corruption agencies in the country have enhanced global efforts toward recovering and repatriating stolen assets. The Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamya, stresses the need for early financial investigations in corruption probes. The Eastern Africa Anti-Corruption Platform held a meeting here in Kampala to fast-track the implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Sudat Kaye reports.
Experts noted that delays let suspects hide or sell assets, hindering recovery efforts.
If a case is investigated, let's say money has been embezzled from Ministry of Finance, 50 million shillings, where has the money gone? Have we followed that money? Okay? And if we have followed it, have we managed to trace in whose pockets it went to? Have we tried to seize that money? Have we tried to seize property of corresponding value from that person who we believe embezzled that money?
Can we attach those properties as we proceed with the case? If you are acquitted, you take back your property. In civil, it is there.
One of the key points raised was the importance of initiating financial investigations at the earliest stages of corruption probes.
Asset tracing investigation will start at the time when the orders are passed by court. When the court says, look, you have to refund this money, yet it ought to have started earlier. So the issue is for the institutional heads to come up and put up procedures to enable the foot soldiers to do their work, along with enhancing some of the laws. For example, there are provisions in the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Anti-Corruption Act that enable asset recovery procedures. Can those provisions run in all these other procedural laws?
Discussions focused on aligning anti-corruption strategies with UN Convention principles.
So we're going to investigate how we can make financial profiling part of the investigation format.
Early financial investigations are crucial in tackling corruption effectively.
Most of the thieves do not keep this money on them. You're going to find that the person is broke and you just have to attach the person as your only last resort. So And it is important that we have a fallback position from the attached properties right from the start of the investigation, so that once an order is given, we can go and get the property if the person cannot give us the money.
A key issue was the Inspectorate of Government's exclusion as an authorized officer under the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Now, Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, Katonga Best Forum faction, wants restrictions imposed on Kano retired Dr. Kiza Besigye and his co-accused Haji Obeid Kamlegia Rutali, barring them from being visited at Luzira prisons and receiving welfare support eased. Now, this concern was raised by the accused lawyer, also interim president of People's Front for Freedom Party, Arias Lukwago, at a media briefing held at the FDC Katonga Best headquarters. Ivan Juko reports.
Retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye and his co-accused Haji Obeid Kamlegia Rutali were remanded at Luzira prisons after appearing before the General Court Martial on 4 counts, following their arrest at Riverside Apartments in Nairobi, Kenya on 16th November 2024. Recently, 2 additional charges were preferred against the duo, including attempt to assassinate President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Section 23 of the Penal Code Act states, A. Any person who levies war against the Republic of Uganda, B. unlawfully causes the death or attempts to cause the death of the President, or with intent maim or disfigure or disable, C. unlawfully wounds or does any harm to the person of the President or aims at the person of the President, E. any gun, pistol or any description of firearms, whether it contains any explosive or destructive substance or not, commits any offense and is liable to suffer death.
Speaks to the charges that are preferred against Dr. Kiza Besigye, specifically 2 counts. Section 128 of the UPDF Act talks about that offense of compromising the security of a country. Maximum sentence, you are liable to suffer death.
Speaking at a media briefing at FDC Katonga Best headquarters in Kololo, one of the accused's defense lawyers, also the interim president of People's Front for Freedom, Arias Lukwago, was concerned by the stringent restrictions imposed on the two, which has limited their accessibility and barred them from providing welfare.
Yesterday, when he had just been remanded to Luzira, it was easy to access him somehow. Of course, we had to go through some processes, but there were the normal checks that would be done in any given prison facilities. But increasingly along the way, they started imposing stringent measures. Now, where we stand today, accessing him is nearly impossible.
They have threatened that Besigye would resort to hunger strike should they be blocked from giving adequate welfare to him.
They imposed the new rules that for one to bring foodstuffs, they must cross-check that they don't fall in the category of those items they have within their in-house canteens. Very irrational, unreasonable, outrageous, and of course illegal. So if the position remains that he can only access food from their canteen, then that means he's starving, because he's not going to eat it.
However, the Uganda prisons have disputed the allegations of mishandling of suspects in their custody. The prison's spokesperson, Frank Baine, has clarified that accepting food from outside prison premises is not a right.
Doing what we are doing. So it's not true that we can deny food to the Kano, because Section 68 says every prisoner shall be subject to the prison discipline and to all laws, orders, and directions related to prisons and prisoners during the entire duration of imprisonment, whether he or she is within the prison, the premises of the prison or not. So, whether it is Kano Besigye, whether it is any other person, as long as you are a prisoner in prison, you have to be managed according to the Prisons Act and according to the standing orders. We are the experts. When you come as a visitor, you don't become an expert.
The People's Front for Freedom also has embarked on efforts towards the release of Aaron Kiza, one of Besigye's defense lawyers who was charged and detained at Chitalia prison for contempt of court.
Can't allow them to just take Dr. Besigye into that perfunctory trial, that process. As a legal team, of course headed by our senior colleague Martha Karua, we are doing everything possible to get those proceedings away from the General Court Martial.
Commenting on the rolling of the voter upgrade and registration exercise by the Electoral Commission, Lukwago wondered why the Commission hasn't granted them a certificate of registration for their People's Front for Freedom party, yet they have fulfilled the requirements.
We submitted all the requirements, the forms with the signatures, the constitution, all that is required under Section 7 and 8 of the Political Parties and Organizations Act. And the law is very clear.
I'm Ivan Juko and Mike Bakabulindi for you.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. Dial *165 *80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You will now enter the draw to win school fees.
This is so much smoke. How you doing? My friends told me about an affordable solution. They're called Greenergy Biostore. Very clean and very safe. Let me call them right away.
Wow, can you believe these beans are ready in just 45 minutes?
Greenergy ethanol stoves and fuel. Enjoy cleaner, healthier and affordable cooking. Cook your food in less than 2,000 shillings per day. No charcoal. Stop deforestation. We are looking for agents across Uganda. Greenergy, Bible Corner.
Government of Uganda presents Post Buses in Uganda, operated by Posta Uganda. We specialize in professional transport, courier and vehicle hire services across Uganda. Our routes include Kampala Masaka Mbarara Kabale Chisoro, Kampala Mukono Jinja Mbale via Tirinyi Road Soroti Lira, and Kampala Luwero Kamudini Gulu Kitgum. Our main offices are located at the Post Office Head Office on Kampala Road, with booking services available at counters 23 and 24 at the General Post Office. You can also book at designated district post offices along our routes. For inquiries or bookings, please contact us on 0751 684 184. Posta Uganda. We deliver trust.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has commended Margaret Komuhanji, the former Member of Parliament for Nakasongola, who passed away in India, for her dedication and service to the nation. Now, through the third Deputy Prime Minister, Hajat Isanga Lukia Nakadama, President Museveni praised the late Margaret Komuhanji for her patriotism. We have more in this story.
Prayers for Margaret Komuhanji at All Saints Cathedral, Nakasero, drew government leaders, clergy, family and friends. After prayers, dignitaries gathered to discuss Komuhanji's contributions.
I really want to thank the people of Nakasongola who gave her an opportunity. But above all, Mr. Rani, for allowing your wife. You know, many men don't want their women to grow. They don't want their women to be strong. You know? We feel threatened by a woman. When my wife, there is one who told me that how can a shoulder grow beyond the head. As if a woman is a shoulder, then a man is a head. You know? But, I mean, I've told very many men that the best influence you can have for your family is to strengthen your wife.
President Museveni, through the Office of the Prime Minister, extended condolences.
She will be remembered as an icon of women, empowerment and emancipation. The NRM has proved all and sundry that women are capable of making a significant contribution to national development and stability. Therefore, I salute Honorable Margaret Komuhanji for her contribution to the socio-economic transformation of Uganda.
Rosna Mayanja praised Komuhanji's role in NRM and youth mentorship.
But she was a very, very smooth operator. If there is a political operation that is going on, you would rely on her. She was one person who would not say something in the morning and say a different thing in the evening.
The children shared about their mother's illness and her extensive medical care despite her not recovering.
She did her role, she never laughed, she did everything. She loved us, she cherished us, she took care of us. Mom, we're going to miss you so much.
The Minister of State for Gender praised Komuhanji's significant impact on the country.
Honorable Margaret here, we pride in her. We passed the Act on Children, we passed the Act on Persons with Disabilities. She was in the front line of making web succeed, and many women in Uganda benefit from web. She was very interested in street children. Margaret traveled everywhere to look for these girls who are taken out of the country. Saudi Arabia, and everywhere she comes back and tells you, our girls are sold like cows. It's just a market. And Margaret will come and cry and talk of these issues.
After prayers, Komuhanji's body was taken to Nakasongola for burial tomorrow. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Now, the International Conference on the Great Lakes region has called for peace building as the most effective systematic approach to fighting mental health and ending gender-based violence. This was emphasized at the start of a 4-day training of trainers of mental health experts in Kampala.
Conflict and humanitarian emergencies affect individuals' capacity to cope due to social, physical, and psychological breakdown.
Civilians caught up in the violence suffer systematic violations of human rights, including targeted attacks against civilians and high levels of gender-based violence.
Health came up more strongly during COVID, because when we were all locked up, you wake up in the morning, you look at the four walls, you look at the ceiling, and then you say, what?
Experts distinguish between mental illness and mental distress.
Of what we call mental illnesses, which are clinical, with clinical features. They can be extreme depression, can be total madness, or where people get off contact with reality. But many people having normal life psychosocial stressors, changing jobs, loss of jobs, unemployment, GBV, child neglect, family separations. All these things are just normal stressors. People are stressed. You may find that some people who are stressed talk to themselves as those ones who have mental illnesses. So don't confuse the two.
The International Conference of the Great Lakes region has embarked on enforcing quality training of handlers of traumatized citizens.
But of course also we said to solve that, to eliminate those violences, so not to have those mental health issues, we have to have a region with peace. It's then why we have included also the peace building.
Around 14 million people in Uganda are estimated to have a mental condition, and with this high prevalence of mental disorder, mental health experts are urged to handle mental health issues cautiously to avoid spreading stigma.
Understanding and also having a referral pathway. If someone wakes up and they decide to undress for that day, or they are talking to themselves, or they seem to be really not acting normally. What should we do? Even also taking away the bad name or the stigma associated with Butabika. When they say someone has been taken to Butabika, it's as if it's the end of the road. But we should be able to appreciate that at any time of our lives, we may have depression.
Dr. Kamya John, the Senior Commissioner of Police in charge of Curriculum and Doctrine Development, emphasized the need to enhance mental health awareness in the police force, citing challenges including suicide.
Challenges. We shall understand more how to handle the people who have come to seek help from the police, from the mental health point of view, because somebody comes and what police has been looking at mainly is where are the injuries, where are the bruises. You are saying you are being abused or you are being violated, or where are the bruises? If we don't see bruises, we say, your case is small, we don't even see a bruise. But now we want to understand that there are also some bruises you cannot see.
Cayenne Faith, Stephen Kalisia for UBC.
Now, Uganda's ambassador to China, Olive Woneka, has called upon Ugandans to view Chinese investors and community living in Uganda as development partners. The appeal, made at the Chinese New Year celebrations in Kampala, comes at a time when China has fronted development projects in the country, including roads, electricity and industrial parks. Henry Okrut reports.
In Uganda, they see an investment hub, a development destination, as well as a second home away from China. To the extent that even as they usher in their new year, the Chinese perform alongside Ugandan entertainers. This is seen as a sign of brotherhood through cultural exchange between the two countries.
I know that all of you seated in this room, you are here because of that wonderful friendship, and you are here to make sure President Xi Jinping's 10 programs he has pronounced are put in action.
As they gathered in their thousands at Hotel Africana, their role towards Uganda's development was emphasized.
They are investing in industry, they are helping with infrastructure development, which includes rail, it includes road, we have our airport, we have Karuma, to mention but a few.
Olive Woneka, Uganda's ambassador to China, encouraged Ugandans to embrace development partnerships with Chinese citizens.
So please see China as a partner for a win-win situation for a shared future.
Liu Jingshu, a famous musician from China, charmed the occasion. The event was also punctuated by martial arts performances in the presence of prominent Chinese business tycoons, including Zhong Shuangquan. Chinese New Year is believed to have its origins in the legend of a monster called Nian, which would attack people and livestock on the New Year Eve. However, when people discovered that Nian was afraid of bright lights, loud noises, and the color red, they adopted these elements as protective measures to keep the creature away. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. Dial star 165 star 80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You are now entered a draw to win school fees.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Agriculture is Uganda's economic backbone, employing about 70% of the working population and contributing 20% of the GDP. As the world becomes a digital global village, ICT has proven to increase productivity in the agricultural value chain. UKUSAF, through its Strategic Plan 3, recognizes the importance of access and usage of ICT-based tools, information and knowledge for farmers by providing them the needed skills to live, learn, work and participate in a digital society.
We came up with a project which we took to UKSAF, and we're happy that UKSAF supported it. That project is called ICT for Farmers. What do we get from ICT for Farmers? We managed to skill up to 100,000 farmers.
Welcome back. Let's have a look at business news now. And the government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, has launched a monitoring exercise into the Jua-Kali group projects funded by the government, with a call to local communities to embrace the program in the fight against poverty. Speaking during the launch of the exercise in Kwari sub-county, Kachumbala constituency, Bernard Amuriat, the Assistant Commissioner in charge of Labour Inspectorate in the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, said government established the Jua-Kali Fund in order to transform lives of Ugandans who are grappling under the poverty line. We have more in this story.
Is willing to support you further. We appeal of you to get more committed, get more serious, bring more people, employ others also. Therefore, officially, open your launching.
The launch for the exercise has been launched in Bukedia district and is to be extended to other districts of Teso and eastern Uganda in general.
We are on a monitoring mission to verify, ascertain and to confirm that the Jua-Kali equipment that the ministry gave out to a number of beneficiaries in different sectors is available and it is being put to proper use.
Commissioner Bernard identified the beneficiary categories as women and youth, who are majority, with the intention to improve their standards of living.
The intent of government was initially, first of all, to create jobs for this youth and the different groups as witnessed from this the equipment that we have in here, and then also be able to generate incomes for themselves.
The Community Development Officer, Kwari Sub-County, Moses Irigati, explained that the program has provided mileage to the youth and women that have embraced it and can now sustain themselves and provide jobs to other community members.
We received the support from Jua-Kali towards the supporting youth and people who are trying out working. We received toolkits that include tailoring machines. We also received 2 motorcycles. The little that they are getting for now has supported, enhanced their livelihoods.
Some of the beneficiaries explained their progress and called for government to add them more machines in addition to expanding their premises to accommodate more members.
I can now make my own clothes, but what we are lacking now is market, and the space is small.
They are self-employed. Some go and make that money in tailoring, some go and ride motorcycles, some go in for hairdressing. So the government has helped a lot and we have achieved. Only that the number is high and where we train, the place is small. So if the government could at least try to help us in that.
The monitoring exercise, according to officials from Ministry of Gender, is to cover the eastern region with the intention to ascertain the progress of Jua-Kali funded groups. Muhammad Iga and Helen Barbara for UBC News.
Sports news now, and Uganda's national netball team, the She-Cranes, has entered its final week of training ahead of the Vitality Netball Nations Cup in England. We have more in this story.
Stadium Nachivubo, the She-Cranes has returned to the MTN Arena Lugogo for its final preparation week.
2 weeks we spent, mostly we worked on our fitness tests. We had one friendly so far in those 2 weeks, and we were tested for how fit we are, how we're playing, correction about our mistakes, and how we should play like team bonding, yeah.
The session was attended by all 18 players, including Sandra Nambirige, Sylvia Nanyonga, Rachel Nanyonga, Joan Reikoboth, and Gloria Aya, under the guidance of head coach Rashid Mobiru and his assistant Ruth Meme.
I mean, there's a bunch of things, we've improved on as a team. First and foremost, fitness. Really important. I think the girls have been running back and forth throughout our training sessions, and I think that's something we've accomplished, and we're still trying as much as we can to make sure that we are up there when it comes to fitness. Also coordination on the court. We're learning a bunch of formations and specifically how the coaches want us to play across the game. So yeah, there's so much we're learning, and I'm really proud of the girls and what they're putting on court every other single day.
The 2025 Vitality Netball Nations Cup starts on 1st February with Uganda playing South Africa and Malawi the next day in Nottingham. Focus will then shift to London's Copper Box Arena for the final group game against England on 8th February. The top 2 teams will then contest the final, while bottom 2 vie for position 3 and 4 on Sunday 9th February.
To chess now, and after 4 days of competition, the 2025 National Junior Chess Championship has climaxed at Nob View Hotel in Ntinda.
The 2025 National Juniors Chess Championship attracted a record 324 participants, with 207 boys and 117 girls. This is an increment worth celebrating from last year that had 228 featuring 157 boys and just 71 girls.
And for me, the amazing part about it is that we have seen growth. For the boys, we saw an 18% increase in numbers, and then for the ladies, we saw a 21% increase in numbers. So chess is developing at a very fast rate. And when you come for these events, you really see very young, talented people. And for me, it's very inspiring.
By the end of the competition that lasted 4 days and 8 rounds, woman feed master Sana Oprakashi's 7.5 points and had the girls' title, while Kasozi Jovan topped the open category.
I feel very happy. I was able to win the championship title again. Yeah, it was tough, and I'm happy that I was able to come out. I took everyone seriously. Maybe I was mainly looking at the top seeds with Patricia and Julie.
Kivuddemu kubanga mbadde ntraininganga buli lunaku okiwange bangayidinga ndaba videos z'aba champions abalala nkola training buli lunaku.
Uganda Chess Federation President Emmanuel Mwaka is confident that these players will, after thorough preparations, not only represent Uganda well, but also form a strong foundation for the future.
Has always seen mammoth crowds, with numbers at the national schools
close to over 1,000, and the junior competition dropping to about 330. We would have the children, the future of chess, would have close to 10,000 players in participating in such events. So we select from those who can afford, and we also try to handpick those we think are really good.
Other podium finishers among the open category were Arthur Mwase and Pido Edwin, while woman candidate Master Patricia Kauma and Zuri Tatina were second and third respective in a tight girls category.
And that story brings us to the end of this edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. Thank you so much for having kept us company on sign language. It has been Senyomo Yusuf, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Join us on Sunday, January 26, 2025.